Okay. Hi. Can you please state your name?
Hi, my name is Jody McAdams.
Can you please state your business?
Our business is Comet Heating and Air Incorporated.
And can you please give me your email contact information?
Comet, COMET at KMTEL.com.
Okay, so now we're just going to dive into some questions. How did you pick the name Comet Heating?
Well, my husband grew up in Casson, Mancherville. His family's three generations from this area. And the high school's mascot is called the Comets with a C or with a K, I'm sorry. And then he thought it was clever and cute to call it Comet with a C, distinguishing it different from with the K so that everybody would know that it's from our area.
Okay, and did you trademark that name or how did you register it?
We did not trademark it. We registered it when we opened up our business through hiring an attorney to create our corporation papers.
Okay, and how did you find that attorney?
It was through what our families used,
Okay.
Ole Law Office in Rochester.
Okay. And what form of business do you have? What kind of business ownership?
And we have a corporation, an
Okay.
S corp.
Okay. And how did you obtain your federal employee identification number?
We registered our business name with the paid to purchase a federal identification number.
Okay. And how do you know what licenses and permits you need for your business?
Well, depends on what year you're in, but we opened the business in 99, I believe. And at that time, it was our deal or our ideal situation. We were going to do mainly residential. So at that point, you need permits and things for depending on whatever town, county, or township that you're working in. And they let us know what we need for permits and licensing. Over the years, as the economy is different at all times, we've always had to switch gears. So from 2000 to 2005, our specialty ended up being state federally funded projects like Veterans of America complexes. Then, as the economy changes and fluctuates, we realize that sometimes you need more cash flow because those large projects you only get paid 1 to 2 times a year or longer. So then we picked up some residential builders and did residential building from 2000 to probably 2007. And had two separate crews, a sheet metal commercial crew and then a residential crew. At that time, the economy dropped, and then we had to switch gears again. All of the builders went out of business, or in our area, predominantly all of them, when the market dropped. So from 2007 to 2009, we kind of did just about anything and everything. Our specialty, that's when we switched gears and started doing small commercial, which are like any mall, strip mall projects that you'll see. They're called white box units. It's where a landlord owns that building and we come in and do the HVAC for those internal stores or whatever they may be. The licenses and permits for those are usually determined through whatever city you're working in through building and safety. And then the other thing, well, after 2009, then we went back to large commercial, and we've been doing large commercial, high rises, apartment complexes have been our specialty since then. We also are a union shop. So all of our men we get from the hall who already have all their credentials and all of their licenses. The only time that I have to sway and get our men additional training or more permits is we live down in Manorville, or down near Rochester, Minnesota, which is an hour and a half from the Twin Cities. And sometimes we'll take jobs up in the Twin Cities. And again, that depends on every city has different types of licenses and permitting that is required. For example, this next week we're doing a couple of jobs in Owatonna. They had a couple of different ones that our guys had to take, a 1-day training class. But typically our men are licensed and carry all their competency cards through the union.
Okay. And thank you for that. And then my next question would be, when you were constantly changing gears through year to year and the economy changed, how did you make these decisions to go from residential to commercial? Like, did someone help you? Did you hire people or?
Just through hard work.
Okay.
Figuring out which, when times are good, you get a little lazy and don't answer every phone call because we have our bread and butter accounts. We know how much money's coming in. When times get tough and you don't know what's coming in, or if you have a failed project, you just stick on your work boots and you figure out where we can get additional work. Sometimes we create advertisements. Sometimes we target furnaces, air conditioners. We don't make a lot of money on that, but we always try and keep our crew of employees that we've had for 20 years. So we pretty much, that's where it kind of turns into kind of a family business, that we just do everything we can for each other to keep everybody going.
Okay. Yes, thank you. And how did you choose the location of where you're at?
I guess basically it would be cost. We own a farm, and we decided that it would be more cost effective for us to build new offices and shop. And through the last 20 years, we've done 3 or 4 projects adding on to our building. Then we don't have to carry the overhead because we already own the land. It would have been nice about 10 years ago if that economy wouldn't have failed our plan. We almost signed and almost built a new building in town, which I think would have probably ended up saving us wear and tear on vehicles, wasted employee man hours from driving, 5-6 miles out of town to our location.
Yeah.
But then on the other side of that, we don't have a lot of overhead. And I think that's the only reason that we've made it, because when the economy's gone down and things go bad, we've always been able to make it through by just being smart.
Okay.
Being smart meaning with our money and cautious.
Okay.
There's also a point where you can be too cautious, though. So now the situation that we're in for retirement and our exit strategies, it's going to be pretty hard to find a Jody and Greg who want to buy our property. So what are we going to do with our shop? Because most people would end up selling their business with their shop. We've already had 3 offers to buy out our business. They just want us to go away, competitors. But we still have 5 to 10 years to figure that out, and hopefully it works out in our favor. But if the economy hadn't dropped, we would have had a whole different life 10 years ago. So yeah, now we have a daughter in college and another one soon to be, and we got to get through that.
Okay, thank you. And what types of insurance do you have?
We have every kind of insurance. About commercial insurance?
Yeah.
Well, we always have to carry comp on all of our men, and we have comp, we have liability. What kind of insurance are you referring to? Or
I guess just like any, or what insurance I should say. Also, like, what companies do you obtain your insurance through, and how did you decide to go with those companies?
Well, we started out with a local agent called Stevenson Insurance here in Casson. Through the years, we've always done commercial and personal through Stevenson. We've got the personal would be mortgage and homeowners and autos and property. And then throughout the years, as we started getting larger and larger liability limits with larger projects, we had to go to a different commercial. I can't remember what it was called. They brought in a new type. It was called I don't know. It was about 5 years ago. So we had to go to a larger commercial. So we went to Federated Insurance, who could give us what we needed in order to bid on plans. And currently I have 2 agents, and actually 3. And like our local Stevenson Insurance carries my personal auto, carries my mortgage. And then they kind of bid out. So, like, I have auto owners, I have Progressive. They rebid it every year to see who's going to give us the best rates on that. Our commercial insurance is another thing. It's pretty high limits. Our occupation is in the top 10 for highest insurance limits, most dangerous. So we always have to make sure that our employees are following safety guidelines and everything's safe. So it's been a little easier going with a higher end commercial insurance broker, because then they kind of help us take care of all of our safety needs.
Yeah.
We do monthly training and safety meetings and MSDS sheets, which is material safety and data sheets. They help us with all of our protocols, which there's just a lot of paperwork for our line of work.
Yeah. Okay. And do you have a filing system? Or obviously you probably do. Is it digital or physical?
I do both. I've done it through all the years, mainly physical. Before we started the business, I worked at a accounting firm and moonlighted and taught QuickBooks. So years ago, we started out with basic QuickBooks. Then we moved into QuickBooks Pro. We're currently running the QuickBooks Contractors Edition, and then a lot of my vendors are currently using a lot of software where we can merge all of my submittals, O&Ms are operating and maintenance manuals, all of my vendor invoicing, I can just merge that right into my database with my Contractors Edition. Gone as paperless as we can, but now we're kind of switching gears again. The way the world is, not really trusting all the digital, so now we're going back to printing monthly statements to make sure that we're covered on all bases.
Okay. And then how does your payroll work, and do your employees get any benefits?
Our employees, what's nice about being union, that one of the pros about it is that our employees create their own wage. So they and vote on their wages, and we pay scale for our area. We're again an hour and a half south of the metropolitan area. So we're called the Rochester and Southeastern Minnesota area. So there's 4 different pay scales, I believe, in Minnesota. And our employees negotiate their wages every 3 years. So they get their base rate of pay is whatever the scale says. And typically it's $1.25 a year increase for the 3-year contract. And then when that 3 years is up, they negotiate and they battle that out with their union reps, and we pay them what their scale is. Benefits, yes, that's all in their full union package. So they get health and welfare, they get pensions, they have options to add 401ks, and yes, we handle it all through our office, but it's all dictated through what their scale is through the union.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you use any independent contractors? And please elaborate if you do, or what do they do for you?
We do use some subcontractors. We try not to because of the cost of the tax. But typically within our projects and the type of projects we do, subcontractors in our area are typically people that do not carry their own insurance. So years ago, I used to have a lot of subcontractors. I'd use them for painting and cleanup, plumbers and electricians. And over the years now, we just typically use contractors that carry their own 1099s and they carry their own insurance. If I were to use a smaller outfit, I would do that only as a personal favor typically. But on our projects that keep getting larger and larger, it's just too much red tape and has just become too difficult to use the smaller outfits who aren't paying for their own insurance and things.
Okay. That's actually good to know. And then how did you choose your bank? And do you have business accounts separate from your personal, obviously?
Well, our business account, again, we're a small town, 1,000 people from the town that my husband grew up in, 3 generations, and our main business account is through Home Federal in Casson, Manorville, that my husband chose because he knows everybody. I do all the banking, and I'm a computer online girl, so I think I have 7 or 8 banks right now.
Okay.
But
Wow.
I like online. I could actually go to completely virtual, but my husband cannot handle that. He needs in person, and you do need to sometimes be able. Things come up where you need to walk into a bank. One thing that's been biting us is notarizing documents, and I've always been the notary, and those laws have been changing rapidly, and we're getting into new territory where maybe about the last year and a half I'm not comfortable notarizing documents for our business. The business is 100% in my husband's name, and I'm the general manager. So for corporation papers and legalities, if something were to happen, I've just decided to stop notarizing. So the only way to get things notarized is in person and in a bank. And there's other things that come up that, I mean, we need things notarized on a daily basis. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that works if we go to all virtual.
Yes, it is. Okay, and then my last question, like who does your taxes? Do you do it? What kind of taxes do you pay?
We pay all kinds of taxes. I do pretty much all of our taxes, payroll taxes. I do weekly. Minnesota withholding, I do monthly. Our income taxes, I meet with an accountant. I have 2 other girls that help me and just help review things quarterly at the end of every quarter. It's more cost effective to hire part-time girls for 2 days, 2 days a month versus having the big accounting firm because they're so expensive. And my accounting firm is Smith Schaefer, which is a very large accounting firm, and they charge $185 an hour. They don't want to mess with all that. So I hire 2 girls to help me, and then we finalize all of our quarterlies, and then the big accounting firm does our year ends.
Okay.
But I still am the one who prepares it, and they just go through it and correct us if there's mistakes and gouge where they can gouge.
Okay. So by you doing the bookkeeping and the taxes and filing, does that save you a lot of money, do you think?
Well, I'm sick of doing it, and I would love to be able to just hand that all over to the accountant, but they would charge us 20 to 30 hours per week at $185 an hour. So yes, we have never been able to afford that.
Okay. Wow, okay, well, it seems like you had a good startup for Comet Heating. Is there any other like obstacles you can tell me? I have to find 2 problems you had. So the 2 things that I was kind of gonna point out was your location, how maybe you would change your location. That's like one of the things.
It would have been a lot simpler to be in town. We did just get our road tarred in the last 2 years, so we have blacktop now. But that wear and tear over the 15 years that we battled that road, wear and tear on our vehicles, tire expense. We have service vans and trucks. It was very, very difficult on the automobiles. And I'd also love to know how much money that we wasted. I'm on an interview. Okay, okay, bye. See you later. Sorry. Your sister's playing volleyball. But it would have been nice to see how much money that we would have generated if things could have been simpler. But you also have to be able to qualify to take out a minimum for a big sheet metal shop the size of ours, a minimum of $500,000, which when we started, we didn't qualify to take out those loans. So you kind of just have to work. It's not an a big pot of money to start from, where most of our competitors have gotten into the trades and this business through inheritance, or they have, we've just managed to just work hard and long hours, long days, and round the clock
Okay.
to keep going. It hasn't been easy.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, well, I think that's all the questions I have, but you gave me plenty of information. Thank you so much. It will be a lot for my paper, and I think it will be very good. You gave me a very good startup of your business, and I think you followed all the steps correctly. You knew exactly all the permits and everything you needed, and that was like the main point of this paper, was to understand if I could figure out all the steps you took, and I think you took them all correctly. So good. I hope that your business continues thriving.
Thank you. Call mommy later. I love you.
Love you. Bye.